What up? What up? What up, world? We are back. Friday Night Mocks, number 9. If memory serves me correct. We are doing a 12-team IDP. And when we do IDP, we have to bring in the big guns. We got Alex right down here, FF 420 Hustler. What up, Alex?
What up? Just starting off the show the right way. And since we got an IDP draft going, I got my fuck team defense shirt on.
Hell yeah. Oh, I love it. I love it. And next to me over here, we got Martin in the house from the Dynasty Pylon over on YouTube and part of the Nerd Huddle and all that fun stuff. How you doing there, Martin?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Not too bad. Just ready to get this going.
Yes, sir.
It's gonna be fun.
Yes, sir. So we already mixed it up. We already have everybody ready to go. So I'm gonna set us up right here. Got everything going. Let me just get all of our stuff up and ready to go. And I'm gonna start this off and let these guys get started. So I'm gonna introduce everybody that we got in here. We got in the first spot, we got Miss Dem Boys in the house. Jessica here today. We got Titans for Life 42. What's going on, brother? Over here from FF Hustler. Thank you so much for bringing him in. I appreciate it.
And that's Steven Evans in the chat. He left a comment there.
Steven Evans. Okay, nice. Oh, okay. Very cool. Okay, cool. Then we got Dem Boys, of course, in the house with Martin in the 4th spot. We got the notorious Wilson in the 5, ambassador extraordinaire. We got Antonio 420 sitting there at the 6th spot. Then we got Underdog 314 right there, right next to me at the 7. I'm in the 8. We got Brandon in here at the 9, Spitta at the 10, FF Seasons in the 11, and then we got our very own FF Hustler at the 12. He was very excited to have that spot.
Yeah, I always get number 12 and all these. It doesn't matter how we do the draft order, just somehow I'm always getting it.
Hey, man, it's not a bad place to be. It definitely makes you think a little bit. Figure out a different way to do things. I don't mind that spot this year. I like it more in redraft than I do in dynasty startups and stuff like that. But it's not bad.
Oh, and I thought that this was a single QB or a super flex, but it's a single QB.
Single QB. Keeping it regular here.
And what up, Hess? Let's smoke it up,
man.
Yes, sir. Hess in the house. We got who else? We got GMM Network. What's going on, man?
Yeah, that's Bogard. He co-hosts a bunch of shows with me.
Oh, that's awesome. Welcome, Bogard. Glad to have you here. Friday Night Mock Draft. Give me money.
Yeah, that's what GMM stands for. Give me money.
Oh, all right. All right. There we go. We got Cody in the house. What up, Cody? Part of the 2-A-Day podcast. Friends of the show. Love having Cody on here. You guys have seen him before. We got Evil Dragon Games. What's up? And then he was saying that he's not mad at the 12 spot. All right. Like I said, it's not a bad spot. We got Ronald in the house going Antonio and Hess saying hi to everybody in the chat. We got Brendan here. ADP is really throwing me off. I don't blame you, brother. It's throwing me. This is gonna be a fun draft. And the reason why is because we got guys like Alex here. We got Martin here. They're going to be here to help you guys through this a little bit. We're going to talk a little bit IDP just so that they have a better idea of how to do things. Just because, I know a little bit about IDP, but I don't know everything about it. And these guys below me, they're more the experts than me. So we want to bring in those types of people. So first off, what I have to ask, for those that are, getting new to IDP or coming back to IDP after a long hiatus, when would you guys start taking, any type of defensive player?
First off, it depends on the roster construction. So if there's only one flex spot or maybe like anywhere up to like 3 or 4 flex spots, I'm probably drafting them really late. If you got a little setup going that we got here, 2 linebackers, 1 DL, 1 DB, and IDP flex, somewhere like that with 18 total rounds. I mean, we may see the top guys go off in like the 5th or the 6th round. May only be a Micah Parsons, a TJ Watt, but usually to get the top guys, probably got to get him in the 6th.
Okay. What about you, Mark? What do you think?
That's what I was just about to say. You see a lot of it go about the 6th. I've seen as early as 5th, and I've seen some reaches at 4th. If you really believe in a guy, last year you saw a lot of TJ Watt reaches at the 4th. This year I've seen some Micah Parsons at the 4th, but I mean that's a reach for me in my opinion. But again, it depends on your settings as well. Like before the chat, we were talking about how your settings can alter the way your draft goes.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
It's definitely different on how, if you like, for my leagues, I like doing sacks per yards. Some leagues they don't do that. They just uptick the yard the sack points. But it varies. But I would agree. 6th round, you start seeing the high end linebackers start going.
Okay. No, and that's good to know. I mean, who do you guys at this point? I understand we already mentioned Micah Parsons. I know a few like Roquan Smith and Bobby Wagner. Even I know he's getting older, but he's still up there. Even Blake Martinez for the Giants, even though he's coming back from the ACL tear. Who are some guys that are up there that guys might not have heard about right now? That is, someone that you might be targeting. And I know there's one that Martin has that he talked about all year last year, and I grabbed him at one point. But who's a guy that you have there, Martin? Oh, I lost your audio.
Oh, my bad. You got it. That individual is still, I honestly, I think is still this season hit top 10.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's because the main key guy is no longer there in the offseason. I'll mention his name in a second, but that individual, the main linebacker that left, is now playing for another team in that same division, which is pretty funny.
Yeah.
But he stepped in and he took over a lot of the points. Both of these guys were making they were the perfect duo linebackers. And I called it at the beginning of the season, and I kept telling you to kept grabbing them, and you were going hard with your Tampa Bay linebackers. I'm like, bro,
God.
You need to pick up Brooks from Seattle.
Yeah.
Brandon Brooks was a really good asset, and I think he definitely changed the game there in Seattle. And now with Wagner gone, that only makes him a lot better at his ADP right now. I think his ADP went up a little bit, so I'm high on him. And as a matter of fact, I think I have him in one of my top 10 rankings. So just probably about 7 or 6.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm super on the Jordan Brooks train. I mean, ever since he was a rookie, he was that guy that I was telling everyone to stash like last round in your rookie drafts. If he lasted there. I mean, if people heard me talking about him, he didn't last that far. And Bogey, IDP 1, 2, 3 scoring. That's what he's talking about. That's the default scoring that Sleeper adopted as their scoring.
What would that be? The 3, 2, 1.
So it is 6 points per interception, per sack, per TD.
Oh, wow.
It's 3 points for every safety, every pass deflection, every forced fumble, every fumble recovery. It's 2 points for solo tackles, 2 points for tackle for losses, and then 1 point for assisted tackles and 1 point for QB hit.
Okay. Yeah, I've always played with way less. We've always done like 1 point or half point for tackles and stuff, just because we don't play with as many defensive players. So they've always been undervalued in the leagues that I've used.
Yeah.
But like with Martin, he's always, they have him a little bit higher with, the yards, for sack, the yards for each sack that you get, which is insane. I love the idea. You get a good 10 yards added, extra, which is for guys that have those long sacks. Like I remember who the hell was it last year? Got like a 30-yard sack. It was halfway downfield. I forgot who it was, but you still get, what is that? 4 or 5 points from that one play. That's insane.
And I mean, especially for, and I put in the private chat there because it won't let me put it in the actual comments, but I put in a link to a video that pretty much breaks down IDP 1, 2, 3 scoring.
Oh,
And
that's awesome. I'll put that right up right now. No,
if
I love that.
anybody's interested in that, I mean, Sleeper adopted it as their default scoring. I mean, I don't really like the Yahoo and the NFL and what's the other big one? And ESPN. I mean, they pretty much, their default scoring is just team defense scoring, and it's really nothing. I mean, it's almost like a waste to give a regular defender those kind of scoring numbers.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I mean, so when do you start taking? We already talked about some of the top guys in the 5th, 6th round. Who are some elite guys? Other than Jordan Brooks, who we mentioned. Who's guys that you like to target a lot in these particular drafts?
Well, the cheat code, if you're playing with an actual defensive line spot or multiple, is TJ Watt and Micah Parsons, because those guys are linebackers, but they have the defensive line eligibility. So for linebacker, I have TJ Watt as number 3, Micah Parsons number 4. But when it comes to the defensive linemen, I mean, they're the overall 1 and 2, and it's probably not even close between them and the number 3 person.
Okay. What about you, Mark? Mark, can you hear me?
Yo, yeah. I'm just I have a weird delay going on here. I don't know what's going on.
Oh, no worries.
For me, no, I agree. TJ Watt and Micah Parsons have that dual eligibility, especially with Micah just recently, not long ago, just got that eligibility. So
yeah,
those kind of guys I'm actually going after quicker than the other guys. Again, production, and then you could flex them anywhere, put them in different positions. You can put them at DL if your DL is on a bye week, or put them at linebacker and put 2-3 different linebackers. If as we're doing 2 linebackers in a flex, you can roll with 3 of them, and then with your 1 single DL, or put them down as your DL, then get 3 more other ones. So it's those 2 individuals are they're very versatile. So it's kind of cool to have that.
Who's your guys' top D-back? Martin.
My top linebacker?
Yeah.
No.
D-back.
Easy.
D-back.
Micah Parsons.
Okay. No. Defensive back.
DB, right?
Yeah. Safety, corner.
Oh, I have this really big love for Jeremy Chin.
Okay. Yeah, I know you do.
I love that guy.
That's funny. What about you there, Alex?
Man, it's tough because there's a couple guys who I really like at the top, like Buda Baker, Derwin James, but I'm really going to give the nod to Antoine Winfield. I just feel like his 3rd-year breakout, like he's already gone insane. Like his first 2 years in the league, just coming on and just fitting in and being one of the top safeties in the league. And dude's only 23 years old, but he's been bred for this, and I really feel like this is the year that he takes the uptick.
Yeah, no, for sure. I like that kid too. For me, I'd probably say, I'm a big fan of Derwin James. I'm kind of hoping he comes back, strong, and takes back that spot. I mean, he's been working hard in the offseason. He's kind of like the Christian McCaffrey of D-backs in a way. Just can't stay healthy. Just has his moments. Them boys getting mad because he picked up Micah Parsons very early. He meant to get Fournette there, so I apologize. I wish I caught that a little sooner. But either way, that's who I like in those positions. I've always been a fan of Devin White, which I now need to start fading a little bit. Just from last year and how he produced. Darius Leonard is coming back from a really bad ankle injury. Who are some rookies that you guys had that came out that are guys that you are thinking about? I'm assuming a lot later, just because they're rookies, but who's one of those guys?
Those guys might not even get drafted with this format, but like the D line, I mean, those are the beasts, this year. The what's it called? Aiden Hutchinson, Trayvon Walker, Thibodeau. But for the linebackers, it's really Quay Walker, and let me see, who the hell is the other linebacker? Who is it? Devin Lloyd. There we go. I couldn't think
Okay.
of his name off the top of my head, but those are the only two linebackers who were drafted in the first round. Both of those guys should jump in, as the starters right off the bat.
Yeah, Lloyd's filling in for Miles Jack, right? I'm assuming.
Yeah.
He's filling that role.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or is he filling the Schobert role? Because
I believe it. I believe him and Olakun are going to be the middle linebackers.
oh, okay. I keep forgetting
Or the
Olakun went
inside,
there.
not
Yeah,
middle, but the inside linebackers.
Olakun is probably me and Martin had a lot of discussion last year, and Olakun was one of the guys that I was looking for, him and or Jordan Brooks, who came in real late and was really excited. We got Evil Dragon Games here saying JC Jackson, Kyle Duggar. How do you guys feel about those two?
I'm off the JC Jackson for fantasy, just because he's more of like a shutdown corner than a guy who's going to get a shit ton of tackles. But Kyle Duggar's always nice, and they're going to use 3 safeties.
I agree. Kyle Duggar was always on that waiver wire pickup almost every week towards the back end of last season. I agree 100%. Awesome. I wouldn't mind getting him either.
Okay. No, those are great guys to mention. I mean, those are some guys that people might not be thinking about right at this moment.
And he's probably more of like a DB2, a guy between 13 and 24 where he's going to get drafted at the position. So you're not going to need to like jump for him.
Well, and that's fantastic. I mean, you definitely want to find guys like that in this particular type of draft. We got King Yada going hard pass for IDP for both. For me, it's all about Kenny Moore.
I mean, he was the number 1 DB in IDP 1, 2, 3 scoring last year. Just shit ton of tackles.
Wow. Yeah, no, I liked Kenny Moore, and he's an undrafted free agent. If anyone got a chance to watch Hard Knocks with him, he's a fantastic story. For those who don't know, you should definitely check out. Definitely check out HBO Hard Knocks. I always enjoy that show. Got a lot of insight on the Colts last season, and he was a big part of it. He worked his butt off, and he's been helping a family where one of the kids like had a really terminal disease, and he's like part of the family now. I know these are stupid little fluff pieces, but it's nice to see these guys in that light instead of what we see with like Deshaun Watson and stuff like that. So it's just nice to see. We got Evil Dragon Games asking, what do you guys think of Mack Jones, his second year? Is this his breakout year?
Low upside, I just feel like solid floor, but they just don't throw it enough. They're not going to let him gunsling it.
Yeah, but he was arguably one of the best QBs as the rookie class of last season, though.
Right. I mean, in real life, for sure. I mean, fantasy is kind of just like a QB2. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, even in a league like this, you don't really want a QB2 if you're only starting 1 QB. We're trying to get after those QB1s. So he's like a solid backup. Super flex, I like him. Solid floor.
Okay. Yeah, I've always felt that way about Mack Jones from last season. I was always in between on how I felt about him in the beginning, just because Alabama quarterback's not really working out in the past, and all these different little factors. And I guess Bill found a way to make it work. Right now it's really just trying to figure out how it's going to go with this particular, new regime without Josh McDaniels. When I hear that Joe Judge is going to be leading the passing offense, and I hear that Matt Patricia, a defensive coach, is going to be leading the rushing offense, and they're going to be collabing in some shape, way, or form, it scares the living crap out of me to touch anybody that is even touching the ball in New England. For me, I'm still having trouble trying to figure out what running back I want because of the system that they have. And we all love Ramondre Stevenson because of what we saw. Damian Harris is a great running back when he's utilized. But at this point, what is the best option at this point? What do you guys think about that running back scenario out in New England?
Tough to digest. I mean, it's going to be Damian Harris most of the time, but yeah, they're just going to use multiple backs. So he's got to pick right on
last season.
Yeah.
Same thing as last season. I don't think they're good. Like, yeah, I understand that this is a new, different coach, but I think they're still going to use the same talent, and they're still going to roll with the same strategy. I mean, you got Ramondre, who's good in his own athleticism in his own way compared to Harris. It's like, I think they're going to do the same thing.
Okay. Who do you think is the top wide receiver over there? We got Parker. We got Jacoby. Did Kendrick Bourne leave? I don't remember off the top of my head, but
He's still there.
he's still there. So you got Kendrick Bourne in the building. So who do you guys think out of that group is going to be the top guy?
It's probably going to be
Parker.
Jacoby if Parker's going to get like the number one coverage all the time. But I like Parker for where you're able to get him to.
Okay. No, that's fair. So we got get that money. Or what's his name again? I'm sorry.
Yeah, Bogard from Give Me Money.
Bogard. There we go. Bogard saying that the Patriots defense is way too good. There's not going to be games where they're, being blown out and Jones has to throw the ball 50 times. I agree. They're going to probably use the Belichick type, situation of just run the damn ball and play defense. If you have Harris, I want, Stevenson too. Yeah, I can imagine that. We got Cody asking who finishes as the top wide receiver in Green Bay as the wide receiver 1. Martin, who do you think?
That's hard to say, man.
Didn't you just do the Green Bay Packers?
Yeah, it was an overview on what I think. Like we went through depth charts and kind of went through the draft, but honestly, I can't deny that the trust that Lazard has for Rodgers is, he knows he's played with them the last couple seasons. People forget that he's 6'5", 220. I mean, he's a big receiver. I mean, I understand that Watson just got there, but I mean he's the new hotness and all. But again, if history serves itself, Rodgers, and we all know he has really tough trust issue with his rookies, and I still see Lazard as probably the number 1, but then there is a very good possibility that Watson just takes over. But I still lean Lazard for me.
What about you there, Alex?
Yeah, I mean, gotta lean on Lazard. I mean, we've never really seen Rodgers have crazy rapport with his rookies, so I mean, we've already heard. I mean, I don't know if it was the coach speak or the Rodgers speak, but saying how Watson is looking nice out there running routes. But yeah, Lazard's the only one that he's got the rapport with. So especially early, it's going to be a lot of Rodgers to Lazard, and maybe Tunyon, gets back in the mix, especially in the red zone. Like, I mean, I'm always hating on Tunyon because such a flop last year compared to his outlier year, but maybe he becomes a red zone guy, and it was kind of like what Dawson Knox was last year, someone who's maybe not even drafted in a lot of these leagues or drafted super late and potentially flirts with close to 10 touchdowns. Probably won't be crazy on the yards, 500 yards or so, but
no, I get that. I mean, I'm on board with that too. I've been feeling like Lazard might be the leader. Of course, there's not really much behind him. Sammy Watkins is old and not really there anymore. He's just not that guy anymore. Like everyone keeps thinking of week 1 and that huge game he had and everything. And everyone just get that out of your head. He did nothing in Baltimore when he was there for the 10 minutes that he was there. You can't use it. Like you can't use Sammy Watkins anymore. You got 2 Lizard Kings. Let's just,
I don't care what anybody says. I don't think he was ever a thing.
No, I don't either.
I don't think he was ever a thing. He was a one-trick pony shop, and that was it. And he played with everybody's emotions. I really don't think he was ever a good fantasy value to grab high. And to be honest, I always stayed away from him his entire career.
Yeah, I mean, I've always avoided him. I do like what Alex said about Robert Tunyon. I do think that there might be a small uptick. All the things that I keep seeing for Christian Watson is that he's a little bit of a chore. A receiver that has a little bit of raw talent but needs a lot to develop. So he definitely has this year to get that under his belt. I mean, they did trade up for him. If memory serves me, did they trade up to get him in the second round right before the Giants? Because I remember he was right at that spot where the Giants picked Wade and Wan'Dale Robinson. So I'm trying to figure out. Do you remember where they got him?
I'm gonna go look into that because I know they traded to get up in the first, and then
I remember that. Yeah, I remember they were trying to move around in the first. Then I remember they moved around in the second, And I remember that it was either that they moved just behind the Giants or right in front of the Giants, who backed off and went to like the 6th pick, if memory serves me. So we got Bodie in here going, yeah, Green Bay traded up for Watson. Yeah.
Yeah,
I figured
it
that.
did. It says from Detroit via Minnesota. So
yeah. Okay. So yeah, they moved up to grab him. So they see the potential in him. They wanted to grab him before others can. So I can see the appeal. It's just I don't think he's going to lead the team like we've said before with Aaron Rodgers. He's a special QB where he only likes certain players. You know, he doesn't have guys like MVS and Geronimo Allison. I mean, where did he go? Where did Allison go off? I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. Did he go to the Bears or I don't remember?
I feel like it was the Lions.
The Lions?
No, Falcons now.
Falcons?
Geronimo Allison?
Yeah. Yeah. I was gonna say that's your team. You should know that.
I mean,
it might be like their 6th one.
Not someone like that.
Like 6 depth chart.
Not someone like that, man.
Oh, and I keep forgetting about this, and Cody brings up a good point.
Yeah.
Randall Cobb. Now we understand he's older. He's got to stay healthy, but let's take away injuries for a minute. Do you feel like he could be that guy that can be in the top 50 that can actually do well this season as like that last pick that you want?
If it's like the touchdowns, I mean, just like we were talking about Bob Tunyon, you know, if he's flirting with 10 touchdowns, you know, even if the yardage isn't there, could be a couple weeks where he's like a really nice flex play.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. You know, I've always wondered what they're going to be doing in Green Bay. I know that, you know, I've been a lot higher on, you know, Aaron Jones a lot lately just because of the, you know, the check down and everything like that. Cause he's definitely going to be getting that. Do you guys feel that, you know, AJ Dillon is going to, you know, see a huge uptick this year and be sort of a standalone value compared to a handcuff?
Both of them should. I mean,
it's going to be 50-50, dude.
Okay.
And
yeah,
fuck, Aaron Jones might flirt with 100 receptions this year. Like they're going to use him as a wide receiver a lot.
Yeah. I think they're going to utilize them, both of them. They're both talented. Like people are like now fearing that Dillon's going to take over. And I'm like, well, Jones is still talented. And he just read up like what, a year or two ago.
Yeah.
So they're still planning on utilizing his talents there while he's there on his, you know, contract and stuff. So I think they're going to use them to what their best abilities and they're probably going to go 50-50.
Okay. Well, that's fair. You know, right now, Cody's saying get Aaron Jones in all your PPR leagues. I can agree with that. I picked him up in a few best ball leagues because I feel more comfortable. I have a question for both of you just because, you know, I get to talk to you guys here and there, but what's your guys' favorite format to use? Do you guys like doing best ball, dynasty, you know, 1 QBs, super flex? You know, what do you guys like to do, Alex?
Redraft, super flex with IDP.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
What about you, Mark?
I'm really old school. I started really young and I played with 1 QB. When I watch the TV, I see 1 QB. I understand we're evolving into this super flex stuff. I get it. It's cool, you know, and there ain't nothing wrong with it. But when I'm watching, I like to see my 2 running backs, my 3 receivers, the tight end. You know, I see what I see, and I see both sides of the ball. I love Dynasty, IDP style stuff like that, and I love watching my linebackers hit my running backs. Yeah. And if it's positive yardage, that's somewhat a secretive stack.
Well, I was just going to ask that
don't
question.
Think about that. You know, you could. It's not a big stack, obviously, like a quarterback to your receiver, quarterback to your tight end, but it's an interesting stack that if your receiver is lined up with your specific safety, because every single time he catches a 10-yard bomb or something, your safety's there to tackle him. So it's like kind of a double point kind of situation, miniature stack style. So that's what I like doing. Dynasty, IDP, stuff like that.
Okay.
No, I play all formats, and I even do like some crazy leagues, like the Vampire League, the Guillotine League. We're doing a 32 team league this year. That one's going to be insane because we're not doing any player copies or anything.
Okay. Yeah. Now for those 32 team, do you trade within division? You get, you know, you trade off players, so you basically start with your own. You know, you start with the Giants, but, you know, or whoever your team is that you end up picking. No.
How does
that work?
That's for people who want to try, try to do like the, I don't know, I guess NFL for fantasy, but no, it is going to be 32 teams, only 9 starters. Max is 1 QB per team, so you can literally only pick 1 QB
Okay.
for your team, and it's a super flex spot. It's not even a QB spot, just in case your QB is like actually on a bye or whatever.
Okay.
And 1 running back, 1 wide receiver, a couple flexes, 5 starters on offense, and then 4 starters on defense. 1 D lineman, 1 linebacker, 1 DB, and then 1 flex.
Okay. That's pretty insane. I've seen the ones that do the full team, like the literal full
all
you
IDP.
draft
Yeah.
the full team and then you trade within,
Right.
you can do trades and it's like having your own football team, which I thought is pretty cool. We got Bodie asking Martin, you say that you're old school. I'm curious, how long have you been playing fantasy football?
Because I look young, huh? Is that it? Look, hey, look, a funny story. I started when I was 11 years old.
Good for you.
Nice.
I started when 11 years old, and I just took forever to put it out there. At some point, it became an obsession. I'm like, dude, I'm just gonna start doing YouTube or something.
Yeah.
But I honestly though, I think my best friend's dad just wanted our lunch money. So I think that's how we got into it, because we used to do paper style. When the very first time we did it, it was like just the teams itself. And it was just my best friend, his dad, and his brother, and we did it that way, just whatever the team would get, right? And then the following year we started doing individual players from like a regular team. So I started really young, man.
Nice. What about you, Alex?
And how long ago was that? What year?
Oh, damn. That was 20 years ago. So yeah.
Nice.
Nice. What about you, Alex?
31 now. So
2006 for me.
Okay. Nice. Now I don't feel so old. I see these guys on other channels. I was watching the Fantasy Whisperers the other day, and they had on Alex Caruso, who's a big name in this and starting to come up a little bit on Twitter. And he was saying he was 21 years old, and I went, damn. Yeah, I remember him saying, they asked him his favorite football player, or favorite fantasy football player, and he said, who the hell did he say? He said someone that like was like most recently, like within the last few years. And I sat there and I went, you're not going to say LT? You're not going to, well, sorry. I gotta take that back. You're not going to say LaDainian Tomlinson? I'm a Giants fan. Let's make that clear. LT is the only LT. So LaDainian Tomlinson, you're not going to say him. You're not going to say Calvin Johnson. You're not going to say, anybody else like that. Like I'd even take Dwayne Bowe at one point. Like, come on, you didn't say anyone that was even close. Made me feel incredibly old at that point. I've been doing this probably since 2007, roughly, and loved every minute of it. I've been running my league. Well, I co-run now, but I ran the leagues to start for the first few years and developed that from a 8 team to 10 team to 2-person keeper, and that's my big money league. I love that league. So shout out to Any Given Sunday League. Everyone knows, well, the group that actually sits and watches this. Other than that, so I'm noticing a trend as I'm looking at the board here, and this is actually one question that I wanted to ask you guys. We see in regular drafts and regular 1 QBs and super flexes and all that stuff, you got 0 QB, you got 0 RB. Is there such thing as 0 IDP?
Well, that's for people who probably don't know what they're doing, and they're just like, oh, IDP doesn't mean anything. Like the way that I see this draft shaping out, everyone kind of filled in all of their starters, or maybe minus 1 or 2 starters, and then they started locking in some of their IDP guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I noticed you went off the chart with literally every single running back that there is to want to have, which is fantastic. Thank you for taking all of them away. Because I'm sitting there trying to figure out, I'm like, what should I do at this pick? And I'm like, oh, should I go running back? Maybe I can wait on that. I can get a defensive player that might fill in better and might be a better value. but you went straight up running back and getting guys that I like Jacobs, Hunt, and of course my favorite Joe Mixon. So that's why I asked that question. I'm just very curious on, if that's even a strategy. Can you find, is it possible to be good at IDP with having value picks a little bit later in the draft?
Yeah, you just got to know about the guys who are like top 12 potential guys who aren't on the radar as top 12 guys.
Okay.
Yeah. You just typically the way I see it is offense typically gets your points. And you want to for sure that's your main foundation. And I guess, the way, again, it comes down to your settings, really. And in my opinion, I feel like if you have your settings higher differently in your IDP side to make up for your offensive side, it could vary. But I feel like you want to get your points in your offensive side before you start filling in your defensive guys. But if you want to go get your guy, I mean,
get your guy.
No, yeah, I'm not going to oppose to you getting your favorite players or whatever you got. You feel like, okay, this guy's going to get me points back to back. But essentially, running backs, they drop like flies, and there's nothing wrong with getting multiple running backs, and then filling in some of the rest of the offense and getting your linebackers. I mean, typically linebackers are your main guys.
Yeah, I mean, you can get guys like Nick Bolton, Harold Landry, guys like that are pretty good steals late. As guys that I'd probably be looking to get. So I also have another question with this. So with IDPs, how do you guys compare the positions? And like you said, it varies based on format and it varies based on a lot of different things. But let's just say that you had, is the running back kind of like the linebacker?
I've thought about this a bunch. The linebackers are like the running backs. D-line are kind of like the tight ends where they're kind of like top heavy and there's like a big drop off after the top couple. And then the DBs are kind of like wide receivers where DBs are kind of like a really deep position.
Yep.
Okay. All right. That's fair. And that's, that's one question that Ant wanted me to bring to you guys, because I was actually pretty curious about that as well. King Yoda telling us right here, linebackers like running back in most my leagues, so it matters, which is good. We got Mike Ortiz in the house. What's going on, brother? Says, just got off work. Sorry, I had to back out of the mock. That's okay. I'll be down for another either tomorrow or later tonight if anyone is drafting. Is this single IDP? Yes, it is. We got Ronald saying, what up, Mike? What up? How you doing? Oh, the other Mike. That's okay. Either way, we do for Mike Ortiz there, we do these every Friday night. Friday night mocks. This is what we do. We run these things every Friday night. I try to do them around the same time, but I do kind of change things around if I have a special guest in the house. But either way, I try to get these done on Friday nights, and we try to do these live streamed and, get you guys the best content possible. Also, I like to just bring up right over there, do some best ball. Go to Underdog Fantasy. I know that they just did the puppy thing, that the puppy super flex thing that just faded away recently. They have a couple best ball manias that are there that you can sign up for to get millions. But they have a bunch of best ball drafts. Make sure you guys check them out. Also, make sure you guys are, of course, subscribing to the channel and like the show. If you guys can do that for me, that would be fantastic. Also, make sure you guys check out these guys below. You got Dynasty Pylon right here. They're on the Nerd Huddle. Make sure you guys check them out. Nerd Huddle is a great group of guys. We collab with them a lot when we can. And then, of course, FF Hustler below me with Alex. Make sure you guys check them out. They are always on YouTube. You guys are on Facebook. You guys are on Twitter. You're everywhere. So just make sure you guys check out the description below. I have all their info, everything that you guys might need to know to find them. Alex is everywhere, and he is literally up at all hours of the night. So he's doing something. He's always busy. So he's always around, always talking fantasy. I got him the other day on Twitter. Got into a nice conversation with I think his name's Jordan. Was that the guy's name, Jordan?
Yep.
He's someone that I like to follow. I just started getting into Twitter recently, so I'm very, very new to the Twitter sphere and starting to get used to that whole thing. And it's been interesting.
Yeah, Jordan is he's the guy who actually coined IDP 123. It was so similar to the IDP scoring system that I'd created.
Jordan Reigns.
Yeah, Jordan Reigns.
Yeah, guy's the man. That
Yeah.
guy's king, dude.
Yeah, we were talking some shit in the Twitter spaces. Me and him just love to talk shit to each other. He was talking so much about how he loves Dawson Knox and how Kyle Pitts doesn't deserve to be ranked inside the top 6.
Yeah,
tight end right now.
Hey man, I was on board with him. I agreed with him. I thought, we all know here how much I hate Kyle Pitts. Just as an option that high. I hate taking him at tight end 3. If he dropped at like 5, I'd take him. But I hate taking him at his ceiling. That's my biggest problem with him, is taking him at his absolute ceiling. For him to be able to produce a tight end, 3 or higher this year, could he do it? Sure. But will he do it? I don't know. I mean, Martin, we've had this conversation a bunch of times. Martin's our, designated Atlanta Falcons fan here. So, in this case, he's a little biased, but not really. He is more.
Oh, no. God, no. I trash talk them all the time.
Well, I was just going to say that. You trash talk them. You are more than real about. You are more real about them than most people. So I will say, he definitely will tell you that, it just doesn't feel right.
19-year rebuild.
Yeah.
19-year rebuild.
So, I mean, but let's talk about it for a minute, because, people didn't get to listen to it on Twitter that are listening now. But, Alex, what were you saying about Pitts and why you feel that he could be that top guy?
Well, I just think for where you have to pick him, I mean, I don't mind having him at number 3. He's only gonna go up in the touchdowns. He still hasn't even hit a touchdown on American soil yet.
Yeah.
He only had one. It was in that London game or whatever. I mean, their offense is probably still going to be bad, but the best thing about it is Marcus Mariota only has eyes for the tight end. So the volume that he gets, it's only going to be upticked more. I mean, they lined him out, like 38% or some shit like that last year, maybe somewhere between 30 and 38%, lining him out as like a wide receiver, not even on the line. So,
okay.
Yeah.
No, that's fine. And like I said, for me, it's just the whole, he just hasn't done it in so long. He hasn't done it in 3 years where he's been able to throw as much. And I get that, 3,200 to spread out between, whoever's there with Cordero, Brian Edwards and Drake London. I mean, you then have to, he's definitely the number 1 tight end, or the number 1 option for that team at this point. But teams are going to double play that. They're going to double team. They're going to do that. For me, Drake London is more of a, commodity. I'd rather have him as a value compared to somebody like Pitts, who you have to take at the very top just to even, get. And you're wasting that. Well, I wouldn't say wasting that pick, but you're definitely getting to a point where you have to really think about that pick and be like, do I want to waste my 4th, 5th round pick on this guy and then miss out on all the rest that are up there? So that's
all depends on the league settings for sure. I mean, if it's just a straight like tight end spot, which most leagues have, once you get outside these top couple guys, it's all crapshoots anyways. Like literally, I mean, TJ Hawkinson, everyone keeps saying he's a for sure thing. Still hasn't shown it. I mean, Schultz, what was probably one of the more reliable, late guys, there for sure. But guys like Dallas Goedert, Dawson Knox, I mean, high upside in like a single game setting, but just a lot of off games. And like a lot of these tight ends, they're like the low tight end 1 games for some of these weeks is like 30 yards and a touchdown, so I just see Kyle Pitts like being inside the top 12, like almost every week, no matter what, just because of that, even if the touchdowns aren't there necessarily. But I got him at number 3 because you got to get him there. I mean, that's the latest you're going to get him. So I pretty much have him at the lowest that you can actually realistically get him.
Okay. That's fine. I get what he was saying in the conversation with Knox. You know, I didn't agree that he should be ranked at like 4 when we were having that conversation. You know, he's definitely lower on the rank for, you know, at least for Dawson Knox. And, you know, I definitely was on board for his conversation about Zach Ertz just because I like Zach Ertz. I think a lot of people like Zach Ertz a little more. But we'll have to wait and see how that all goes. We got David Hess in the house going. Great value on TB12, assuming that he has someone to throw to other than Evans. Fingers crossed Godwin gets healthy in time for the season. How do you guys feel about that situation? I've heard many rumblings that he's probably not going to be ready till the end of October.
Yeah, a lot of range of outcomes. That's the only thing that sucks. I mean, some of these best ball leagues, maybe I'll get him if we're getting them late, but I'm glad a lot of these redrafts aren't going to be starting for a while because we need to hear more info about him. He could start on the pup, and he needs to be valued a lot lower if he's going to miss 6 games.
Yeah, I agree. What about you, Mart?
I mean, kind of basically what he said. Hopefully you're not starting your redrafts here soon. I mean, if you did, that's fine. But typically this is the month. This is the month you're going to start doing a lot of the hot ones. Like, I feel like a redraft, you want to get closest to preseason or maybe during preseason.
Yeah, we usually, my keeper league and my salary cap dynasty league, we usually try to do them at the same time. Usually the 3rd week of preseason, like just after that. Now that the schedule's changed a little bit and everything's a little bit different where, you know, they used to have the 4 games and, you know, all the big guys go at the 3rd week and then rookies after. You know, now it's a little different because they only have those 3 games. So, you know, we've been trying to keep it as close to Labor Day as possible just to make it a little bit easier. But it doesn't always work out that way. Life always gets in the way, unfortunately. So I always like to do it then. I'm assuming you feel the same way, Alex, right? Getting it as late as you can.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And I'd like to throw out, I mean, in this single QB league, I mean, the guys who just got the best deals on QB, it looks like I started the QB run amongst the last 3 guys who didn't have a QB. I got Tom Brady at the end of the 11th, and then Rodgers and Lance go. And now I think everyone has a QB.
I think so. Yeah. I think a lot of people went early, and a lot of the autos gave people early too.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I see the Rodgers, Lance, with Miss Den Boys, Jessica in the house, making sure that everyone got here on time. I know we got only 1 auto draft now. Sorry about that. Normally we don't do that. I'm very, if you've ever watched my stuff. So we're getting to the very bottom of the draft, and I saw that you went with Luke Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
I really like Luke Wilson. I had, you know, he was one of those guys I was aiming for last year as those like no one knows about type guys.
Yeah.
How do you feel? I mean, you picked him as your first linebacker. How do you feel, you know, he'll be doing this season?
Well, it was Antonio. Antonio woke up and he came back and started drafting, and they took Devondre Campbell, who's someone who, I mean, he finished as I think it was top 8 last year. Easily should be inside the top 10 again. So that's who I was going to try to swoop until he got him. But yeah, Logan Wilson, he's someone I've been on since rookie year, kind of like Jordan Brooks. I mean, he gets drafted in the 3rd round 3 years ago now.
I love that guy.
Oh, he's the shit.
I love Logan Wilson.
Nobody knew who he was as a rookie. Didn't play his rookie year at all because I don't even remember who was in front of him. But just like Jordan Brooks, the guy in front of him gets out of there sophomore year, and then he comes in starting and man, just killed it the entire year. Waiver wire darling and redraft because nobody knew who the hell he was.
Yeah,
he's a stud.
No, that's awesome. I've always been a fan of him. You know, just watching what he did, and you know, he did really well at the very end. So, you know, I'm a really and okay. So I have another question for you guys. So for a type of strategy for IDP in general, when you're looking for linebackers, what type of linebacker or, you know, DB, like what's the philosophy that you guys like to use? Like for me, I like to grab a middle linebacker from a 4-3 type, you know, base defense, or a, you know, safety for a team that likes to, you know, play a little more nickel than base. You know, what's your guys' strategy?
I like going after the safeties. Safeties that kind of play on inside the box. I mean, prime example, Jeremy Chin. Like he
Yeah.
kind of plays a little bit both, closest to the box. Kind of also, he's got the speed to go out. You know, a lot of the box guys that play versatile positions. And then, like I said, TJ Watt, Mike Parsons, they're kind of like, they either put them at the edge or kind of like off to the end. You know, there's nothing wrong with middle linebackers either, but I kind of like, for me, I like going on the outside for a lot of the sweeps, a lot of, but I like to have a little bit of both middle end and the right side, left side linebacker, depending. And you got to look at the matchups too. I mean, if you're gonna put someone against the Packers and you look at your outside linebacker there, it's going against, you'll see a lot of you know, Ronald Jones, or not Ronald Jones, my bad, Aaron Jones. Sorry, I didn't mean to degrade him like that, but Aaron Jones off to the side, you know, they're gonna a lot of check downs to him. So you might see your outside linebacker get plenty of work during that week. So it really depends also how the line is doing for that team. If it's a trash old line, dude, go pick up some guys against those defensive linemen against this trash line. You're going to get some sacks. And you just have to really pay attention to both how the offense is running. Like, I know if a trash line is, I'm going to pick up a lot of guys against that team because I know I'm going to get at least sneak away with like at 2-3 sacks from there.
Okay.
Yeah,
What
for
about
me,
you, Alex?
yeah, it's the middle linebackers and the inside linebackers. So, I mean, whether it's a 4-3 or a 3-4, you know, it's either the middle ones or the inside guys. For me, your Roquan Smiths of the world, Jordan Brooks, Bobby Wagner, CJ Mosley, like someone who super underrated. People forgot about because he didn't play for 2 years.
CJ Mosley.
Yeah, and Devondre Campbell, another one. But those guys are just so consistent, and it's because 9 times out of 10, those guys are the ones who are guarding the running backs, you know, and who gets the ball the most, you know, in the game is going to be the running back. So when you guys got guys like that who are just tackling machines, you know, they're going to be getting the opportunity time and time again. Then if they're guys who can mix in sacks as well, maybe some interceptions. But I like the consistency, really. I mean, the big plays are really nice, but just like running backs, I mean, you'd rather have the consistent running backs that are getting the volume versus the guys who are kind of like the big hitters or whatever, or maybe the more efficient guys.
Okay. Now, what do you guys prefer? Do you guys like having your team set up and having those guys and playing them every week and, you know, using them? Or do you guys like streaming a little bit more with your IDP guys where you kind of go with the matchup a little bit, where, you know, you kind of, you have at least one guy that you can kind of go with, like, I don't know, like a Derrick Henry type, you know, going to get, you know, you go for, let's just say, you know, in this case, like Devin Lloyd, who's going to be facing him every month, you know, well, twice a year and getting a ton of tackles, and then you can stream him every so often. Do you guys believe in the streaming part of the IDP, or is it more of a keep that guy for the whole time and just ride him?
For me, I feel like it's I don't like streaming guys. I like the consistent guys that constantly, you know, what kind of points you're going to get. If they're averaging at least 10 tackles a game, I'm happy with that because I know that that's going to be their floor. But for me, I'd rather have that for sure guy that I know that I'll never have to, I'll just set him and forget him type.
Okay.
Because if the only time I'm going to stream, like I said earlier, if a QB, like 2 years ago, I was getting anybody and everybody against that Eagles line because at the time Wentz was getting sacked that year, specifically before he went to the Colts. But that year, that Eagles line was trash, and you know you're going to get at least a sack or two in there.
Okay.
So it's honestly no different than offense, because if you draft a running back high, you're just going to give him a longer leash than you would. I mean, but there's a certain point in time where you're going to be like, man, this guy's not producing. There's better free agents, you know, out there that are producing. And so you roll with the punches. But that's what's cool about IDP. Once you start playing, you'll realize it's literally no different than offense. It's just a different position and a different way that you accumulate those numbers, but it's all based on the numbers.
Yeah. And that's
Consistency is key.
Yeah, and that makes sense. I mean, I remember, oh God, I forgot how many years ago, but it will probably date me a little bit. If you guys remember Chris Borland from the San Francisco 49ers, who played one season and retired, his final like 4 games or final like 6 games or something like that, he averaged like 10 solo tackles a game. And I remember he had like anywhere between 10 and 15 solo tackles. And I sat there and I went, this guy is an animal. Picked him up randomly, helped me win that year. Like I remember that guy just because of that. But consistency is always key, of course. Who are a couple guys that you see that are very consistent that you don't really stress about when you're drafting for IDP?
Bobby Wagner.
Yeah, damn, you took it. You took it. I was going to say Bobby Wagner. I know he changed teams, and this might be like a big question mark, but the dude produces. You can go 10 years from now, he was still putting up the same numbers. And I was just about to say that too.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he's got the most top 10 finishes out of any linebacker in the last 10 years.
Yeah, I love Bobby Wagner. Just, do you guys feel like he can still be as productive as he was on this particular defense? I know Aaron Donald opens things up a little more.
He's a smart dude.
Yeah.
He's been in league. He's been in a defense where I like to get the studs on these crap teams. Like those guys produce, and he was always that stud on that defense. But now that he's going over here, Aaron Donald might open it up for him, and he's a smart guy. I think it's going to be the same. I don't think there's going to be any change in that.
Because they've already produced like guys at like the middle linebacker and the inside linebacker position. They've already had guys who have been in the top. I mean, guys like Corey Littleton. As soon as he left, he was kind of like trash, But when he was there, he was killing it. And Bobby Wagner's he's gone into a system that's going to be able to utilize him really well.
Yeah, and that's where I was kind of going with that, trying to figure out what, they did have a guy like Corey Littleton who did well last year. Who was it? Trayvon Young, who, took in that middle spot, and Ryder, who Reader. Sorry, I knew it was a combo of those letters. Did really well in that particular system. So I'm hoping that he has the same production as well. I've always been a fan of, I think Blake Martinez doing well. I know he's coming off the injury. Do you guys care about injury as much for defense than you do for offense, or is everything kind of the same?
In redraft for sure, because I mean, guys like that, they might get off to a slow start, so I mean, I don't want to draft him. I mean, but the year before, I mean, he's being drafted as like a top 5, top 6 guy, like literally everywhere. I have him like right around 13 or 14. So I know that some guys might jump for him, and I'm okay missing out on him because he might have a first like slow like quarter of the season.
Okay. I'm assuming you feel the same way there, Mark.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of the similar, like once one guy goes out, sometimes you might pick up the same position. Whoever steps up in for him might actually produce the same amount. It's kind of like when you're running back, you're going to go pick up the handcuff. So it's kind of the same situation, really.
Yeah, and unfortunately for that particular scenario, you only have Trey Crowder, who is not a horrible option, but he's young. He's still kind of getting his feet underneath him to be that, top guy. I read an article today or it was either today or yesterday, that was, ranked the Giants linebacking core as one of the worst. And I don't disagree. Really? Yeah, they put him as probably one of the worst.
Bobby, with Blake Martinez back there. I mean, obviously,
Blake Martinez, Trey
season.
Crowder. You got I forgot their edge guy. I can't say his name. Not that I forgot him. It starts with an O. And then you got Thibodeau, who's technically he's labeled as D-line in Sleeper, which I kind of feel is not the right designation for him. He's a 3-4 linebacker that plays outside. Why isn't he being labeled as LB and D-line? So that kind of bothers me a little bit that I saw that before. And I'm sitting there like, do I even take him? Because it wasn't even worth it at that point. I'm like, I don't, I want to be able to use, as more of like a linebacker compared. But there we go. Thank you, Steven. I appreciate it. Alorizi. I can't say that name. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Unless your name is John Smith, I
8
pretty much
sacks
can't
last
get your
year.
name. Yeah. So I mean, he did real well last season. I think he can only do good, better with Wick at the driving the ship. Do you guys think that Xavier Mckinney can actually have a breakout year this year now that he's fully healthy? No more Jabril Peppers. Doesn't really have he doesn't have who's the other he left.
Logan Ryan.
Logan Ryan, there we go. So he doesn't have Logan Ryan to kind of help him in the back. Do you guys think that they're going to be able to use him and him being productive? I was a little upset that I missed him.
He's going to be that dude now. I mean, barring health, that's really what it's going to come down to. He's always kind of getting hurt, but they got rid of everyone because he's going to be like the alpha in the, just in the backfield. So, whatever, in the DB spots.
Yeah, I think they keep asking who's going to be the number 2, for free safety or, strong safety. And I sit there, I'm like, it's going to be Julian Love because he has the most experience, but we won't get into a Giants talk today. What do you got? I know that this is individual defensive team and, individual defensive players. I'm kind of curious. What do you guys think? What's one of the top defenses in the league this year? And I don't care about fantasy, just in general. What do you think is that the top defense?
Fucking Rams, man. I fucking hate to say it, but the Rams are just they're savages over there.
Okay.
Yeah. They're still making moves, even with Bobby Wagner. He just replaced
Reader.
So they just replaced it for another talent, Von Miller. Just swap him out. I think the talent's still there.
Okay. Now, can I make an argument for possibly the Eagles?
I mean,
the moves they made.
They got talent.
I don't know if they're like a top 5 unit though.
They made some crazy moves, and their secondary looks like probably the scariest in the league. That's just me. I mean, what do you guys think?
Yeah, it's their secondary is pretty good, but they're relying on their linebackers. Understand that they got Nakobe Dean, right? But it's like with the shoulder, and it's not too much. I guess it's not going to bother me that much. He's just going to heal it eventually. But he's a really good linebacker. But sometimes it doesn't transition. But there's more pieces that I think needs to be worked on.
Okay.
I do like Kaiser White, coming over from the Chargers, but yeah, it's their linebackers that are. I mean, they got Hassan Reddick.
Don't they still have Singleton?
No, he's on the Broncos now.
Oh, he moved to the Broncos. Oh, that's scary. Well, then
he was
maybe
a nice pickup last season.
I was gonna say Singleton is a scary linebacker to watch. I mean, I watched them all year because like I said, being a Giants fan, we get to see them twice a year, and Singleton is everywhere. And I'm. So, can you throw the Denver Broncos in as maybe one of those top options?
Hell yeah!
Now, who did they let go of on their secondary? Because I remember looking at their defense, and their secondary looked a little weak. Were they able to pick up anybody recently? It's been a minute since I've looked at their roster. I know they still have Justin Simmons. I know that they had Chris Harris at one point. I don't know if he's still there. I know they have Patrick Surtain.
Yeah.
They still
their
have.
DBs are pretty solid, man.
Yeah. Okay.
Ronald Darby's the number 1, I guess, right now.
Okay.
I don't really have an issue with those guys there. I think that's they're gonna make a solid defensive, front. Another team though, I think that's gonna make a good splash and good threat is probably the Bills.
Okay.
Yeah. Gregory Russo is one of my actual sleeper picks. I think he might break out this season. I think him and Boogie Basham, those two bookends right there, I think they're gonna make someone soil their shorts, man. They're some big dudes.
And they might have the best safety tandem in the game right now with Poyer and Hyde.
Yeah. Yeah. Despite his age, man, that guy's
Poyer can hit.
Cracking heads, man. Hyde is I think he's 31, 32 now.
Yeah.
Still a threat, dude. He was one of the top DBs for multiple weeks last season, and both of those guys are just a good threat duo, man.
Yeah, I like I like what they did in the draft. The corner that they picked up off the top.
Elam?
Yeah. I saw something about him where he walked into the coach, like after he got drafted or whatever, he handed the coaches like what he feels he's, messed up on in the past that he's going to work on. This is something that he wants to do. Saw things tape on, game tape on the Bills that he thinks that they should change. Like he walked up, handed them a book and was just like, I'm here, let me know what we can do and how we can do this. And I was like, holy crap. Like that just blew my mind when I saw that. I'm kind of hoping for that. We'll have to wait and see. I'm not a Bills fan, but I'm definitely a Bills supporter being in New York and, I always have to take the crap from people from upstate saying that the Giants and Jets are not they're not the New York team. I always get the Bills as the only New York team. So
I will say this about you New Yorkers, though. They had a good draft. I'll give them that. The Jets and the Giants had a good draft. I really like their draft. But can they make it work is the big question. And I think it's gonna give some chemistry molding time for both of those teams.
Okay. All right. Fair point.
Yeah, Antonio said he passed out too many shots, and then he has work at 4 a.m. So that's why.
Is he out here?
Man.
He's in New York.
Yeah, so he's out here with me. So believe me, brother, I know how you feel there, Antonio. Me and Ann and Martin can sit here and vouch for me that I've been on here until 4 a.m. on in season doing breakdowns and you lost your mic there, Mart.
I said you're doing Twitch hours over here.
Oh man, I do. It's insane. We did a lot of real late stuff over here, and hopefully we don't have to do that again.
and one thing, Mike, I got to point out to you. All right, so Cam Hayward, I got him at the end of the 17th round. He was the number 2 scoring two scoring DL last season, and with all the weapons they got on the outside, he's going to finish somewhere inside that top 5 again.
No, and that's a great point that you bring up is I like how you did your system, and it's like I said, it's kind of like a 0 IDP type situation, but it's the concept that you were able to grab so many great, values here. And, with Perryman, who going to be playing middle linebacker for the Raiders. Then you got Cunningham going to Tennessee.
He finished as LB 12 last year. He was a top 12 LB.
And then you had Cunningham coming in, who's he's always top 5 somewhere when he was in Houston. Yeah. And then grabbing a guy like Cam Hayward at the very end, no one really thinking about it. Everyone grabbing guys like Dillon Hunter and Quentin Williams, and I grabbed Jared Allen just because I like the dual eligibility. I got you guys for maybe 2 more minutes. I know that you got to run there, Alex, but how about you give us a quick little, look at our 2 teams real quick. I know that I'm going to have both of you guys back on Monday, which I'm really excited about. If not me here, at least we'll have someone here. But just a quick little breakdown. Why don't you guys do my team? Just because if I'm not there, what do you guys think? How do you guys think I did here?
Let me open it back up. I don't have my big screen.
So go
ahead, Alex.
I like what you did with Eckler and Williams, at the top in a single QB. I mean, you got to have those running backs, and then Diggs and Sutton, it's a solid wide receiver duo there. I mean, I like what you did with the IDPs. I probably would have grabbed someone different there besides Warner. Yeah. Maybe Olakun or Eric Kendrick, something like that. Those guys went after. I do like Jeremy Chin. I mean, you kind of got to get him there. Especially with guys like Martin, who he's on his radar. Crazy.
I already knew. I was grabbing him just to piss Martin off.
Yeah, no, that's my boy, man. That guy's really good.
And he's gonna go as a top 3 guy, more often than not. So I mean, you got to get him, kind of towards the top. The Josh Allen pick, you may have even been able to wait a little bit longer on him than that. And but I mean, this is a super solid team. I mean, Matt Judon, maybe there's a couple better guys, that late. Devin Lloyd or Buda Baker. I mean, Jordan Baker, Jerome Baker. So high right now, I'm messing up everybody's name.
I do that and I'm not high, so you're good. So, I mean, honestly, I just wanted to have a decent idea. I know that my team, first time doing this in a long time, it is what it is. Don't worry, Steven. We're gonna have you come back and watch on Monday to have you rate this team. I don't want to give too much away.
Damn.
Come on now. We always do this. Everyone asks us for their grade now. We want to do it, but we're waiting until Monday to get this done. So don't worry. We'll make sure you guys get that. I'll make sure it's in the link, and you guys have the link to it and everything. I'll have that all set up for you guys. Otherwise, this was I'm incredibly happy that I got to have both you guys on. Really good insight on a lot of these things, a lot of good IDP insight, and so thanks guys for joining me. Make sure you guys check out both Martin at Dynasty Pylon. Make sure you check them out on YouTube. Give them a like and subscribe, of course. Make sure you guys check out also Alex FF Hustler 420 right there. Make sure you check him out as well on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. Find him everywhere. He's always around somewhere. Make sure you guys also like and subscribe his stuff. And also, why don't you guys like and subscribe right here? It's below you, but I put it up here. But make sure you guys like and subscribe to us as well. We're just trying to get at least one more person every day, trying to up that thing. I have to say thank you to Alex for, a lot that he's done to help us as well. Keeping us relevant and bringing in new people. So we really do appreciate the help there. Believe me, I know Ant appreciates it a lot. Mike Ortiz going, first time I've heard FF Hustler's real name. Peace out, Alex and homies. Yeah, no, it's all good, man. I can't always use their tags. It just, when I heard Dem Boys' name the other day, I'm like, wait, that's his name? Been calling him Dem Boys forever. So thank you guys so much for being here. I really do appreciate it. Do you guys have any? Well, first I'm gonna ask Alex, is there anything you're working on?
Got a lot of things going on right now, but I'm really trying to get the podcast promoted a little bit more. So hustlerpod.com is where you can go download. That'll get you to anywhere that you got going on. I'm actually going to be doing so I got a Patreon going on. If you go to fantasyfootballhustler.com, Patreon's the top link. This year I'm going to be doing a mailbag for Patreon members on the what tier is it? The $15 tier or higher. So
okay,
maybe there'll only be a few people there. Maybe there'll be a bunch of people there, but haven't done that until now. But that's something I'm going to do to give back, and just crazy amount of content's about to be dropped.
Awesome. No, that's awesome. What about you, Martin? What do you guys have going on?
Much respect, their fantasy hustler. I mean, I've seen this guy like when I first started IDP, and I was like, okay, I would never actually imagine I'd be in the same mock draft, but it's really cool, man. It really is. But honestly, right now I have an 18-man guillotine IDP style going, and a link on my channel. So I actually think I have plenty of spots left. I only put it up recently, so we got that going on. I'm the winner of that one is I'm giving away a jersey. Don't worry, it won't be Atlanta. Don't worry about it. It'll be your team of choice. But at the end of the season, I'll get with the winner, see what their team is, and then it'll probably be either number 2 or 3, because we've only given out one so far. So you'd be the second one or the third one to be given away. And it's not a bad jersey. I mean, it's not.
It looks
Nike,
legit, my friend.
But it's good. So
no, that's awesome. Make sure you guys check out his show. Make sure you guys look at the description as well. He has all that information in the description of his shows to get into that guillotine league. If it's not filled, you guys filled it yet? Or are you still?
No, looking? I think I have about 10 slots right now.
Okay,
maybe 9.
So, plenty of slots.
There's still some slots left. I mean, we got a whole month basically. So it's not like I'm in a rush. But we'll get it filled pretty much.
We'll try to get that filled for you. So make sure you guys check them out. Make sure you guys check out their channel as well. What's the next team you're doing?
I think we're doing overviews. I think I'm doing the Vikings next.
Okay. When are you doing that? Tuesday?
Probably Monday.
Tuesday.
No, Tuesday. You know, I like to take my weekends off.
No, I was just gonna say I might.
You're right.
I was
You're
trying
right.
to figure out.
I forgot about that. Thank you, David, down here with the happy 4th. Yeah. So more than likely, I'll probably do it Tuesday.
and I was gonna probably bring up the concept we might do it Tuesday just because of the 4th, just to give everybody a little break. I'll reach out to you guys after the fact. But we'll definitely get in there. Look at that. You guys got a subscriber with Anthony or Antonio.
Appreciate that.
And we got we got Ronald going, Mike, can you just call him Hustler or Huss? Much easier. Fair point. So I appreciate what you guys did tonight. Thank you so much for joining me on the pod. Can't wait to have you guys back, of course. We'll have you guys back probably, like I said, Tuesday. We might want to take the day for 4th of July. Also want to wish everybody a happy 4th. I know it's a little early, but happy 4th to all those, especially guys like Martin over here, one of our vets in the house. Or no, you're still active, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm still in. Yeah, I'm
still active and doing his thing over here. So, and also one of our friends, Kyle Letterman, who we had on last week. It's great. So thanks so much. We'll catch you guys soon. See you next time.